Hello, wonderful person, and welcome to What the Math. This is Anton, and today we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to be talking about the trailer from Rogue One. This has come out about a week ago, so throughout this week I decided to take it upon myself to essentially do thorough research on various theories, various ideas, and essentially just what is going on here and what is going to happen in the movie that's coming out in December of 2016. I'm also going to clarify some confusions that some people have about this particular movie and also possibly mention some really awesome possible spoilers. So if you don't want to know what is maybe actually going on in this movie or may actually happen, and of course many of these might not even be true, you may want to stop this video halfway, because after about halfway, when I say spoilers ahead, I'm going to be talking about them. Anyway, so let's start with the trailer. We're going to go through some of the more important frames in this trailer, and I'm going to explain to you what's going on. Now, first and foremost, so what exactly is this movie? When is it happening? What is going on? So, a lot of people thought that this is actually going to be sort of a sequel to Star Wars Episode 7, but it's not. It's actually a prequel to Episode 4. Here's a better picture that explains when this is happening. It's right before the Episode 3, which was the new sequel, and Episode 4, which was the first Star Wars movie ever released. And the idea here is to find out how these plans that I think the main character is carrying in this particular shot were basically stolen from the Empire and then delivered to the rebels. And basically, if you ever rewatch Episode 4, the entire movie starts with Princess Leia's spaceship being captured by Darth Vader, where he actually says, you know, you have the plans, where did you get them, and so on and so forth. And this is essentially the explanation and possibly the most important part of this movie. So this box right here, and a lot of people have speculated about it, is essentially what the characters in this movie will try to steal from the Death Star. And the other thing about this movie is that it's going to be very different from all of the other Star Wars movies, because for one main reason, there's not going to be any lightsabers in here. And that's almost 99% certain, because in this movie there's not going to be any Jedis, there's not going to be any Sith, and it's very unlikely that Darth Vader will make an appearance as well, even though there was a speculation about it. However, if the Darth Vader does appear, I have a really good feeling about who this might be as an actor, because he doesn't appear in the trailer, but I'm going to talk about this when we talk about spoilers. Anyway, so let's go to the beginning of the trailer. Appropriate audiences only. Anyway, so we're going to start with the first scene where we get to see... And in the main shot here, we get to see the main actress and, of course, the main character. And this is actually a very interesting character, another female lead, of course, just like in Episode 7. But if you actually go to Wikipedia, or Star Wars Wiki, as it's known, so the character's name is Jyn Erso, and there's a bit of a description about who she is already. Some people have already speculated, and it has been confirmed. And so what we know about her is that she's a human female soldier, but she's also a former criminal who fought for the Alliance to restore the Republic during the Galactic Civil War. So a lot of this is already known about her. We still don't really know her background, and there's only speculation that possibly she might be a daughter of the person who constructed or who designed the Death Star. But that's all just a speculation. I'm not going to focus on that. Basically, what we know about her is that she's badass, and the rebellion wants her for, to help them steal the plans. And so here, the rebellion leader, Mon Mothma, who's actually doesn't actually appear in many other movies. She was in Episode 3 deleted scenes, but she doesn't actually appear in the actual movie. But Mon Mothma is the human rebellion leader. She's actually a very important character in the comics, also in Clone Wars, the animation series. So she's a pretty important character, and she's finally in the movies officially. Hopefully they don't cut her again, because they did cut her from Episode 3, and this was actually the same actress. But so yeah, so here she's explaining to the main character that her mission is to essentially help them. And right here, we see the second main character, and this is Diego Luna, the Mexican actor that is making his appearance in a Hollywood movie. But the thing is, we don't really know his name yet. And the fact that we don't know his name and that we don't really know if he ever appears again in the trilogy, I'm guessing something bad is going to happen to him, but I don't want to say anything because maybe it does happen and maybe it doesn't. The important part about this shot, though, is this right here. And it's very, very pronounced. You can kind of see it very easily. This is his insignia. This is actually his ranking. And he is a captain in the rebellion. And this is a pretty high up rank, meaning that he's a pretty important character, and that it's very likely that whatever the mission is, and we get to see this a little bit more of this in the trailer, where they basically are seen walking away together, and then they're seen running through the Death Star. In this shot right here, you can kind of see them running through this subway station-like system that the Death Star has. And you also see this robot running after them. This is actually yet another actor that has been digitized. And here we're talking about Alan Tudyk, who is, I think, to me, most famous for Firefly, the TV show by the name of Firefly, but he's done a lot of other work as well. And he is actually playing the Imperial robot that has been reprogrammed by the rebels. And so, and in this particular scene, you can kind of see him running after them. So he's basically supporting the rebels now. Now, the other important shot is actually right here, and this is closer to the beginning of the clip, and you get to see the inside of this rebel base, and if you look really closely, you'll realize that this is a very ancient temple, and here we're talking about the Massassi Temple on Yavin 4. This is a temple that's been mentioned in one of the previous movies, and the importance of this is that basically this is where the rebel base is located before Darth Vader decides to actually destroy it in one of the future episodes of Star Wars. But here's actually an interesting tidbit about Yavin 4. We also know that Poe Dameron from Episode 7 has grew up on Yavin 4. So maybe, just maybe, there might be a connection between some of the characters here. Now, we still don't really know this girl's background, and the speculations range from her being like some sort of a hidden Jedi to her being the daughter or sorry, not the daughter, but the mother of the character from Episode 7, which is, of course, Rey. But I'm going to talk about this in a few seconds when I tell you that I don't think it is. Even though there's this meme going around with basically the face of the new actress plus Luke Skywalker when he was younger equals to Rey, and there's a bit of similarity between them. Even the actress herself admitted that, you know what, just because I'm white and we both have brown hair doesn't mean she's my mother. And I think it makes a good point, but the other thing is that it doesn't really add up mathematically. If you do the calculations and try to figure out if it's possible for them to give birth to her, because it would not make sense. And the reason is, one, Luke Skywalker is still actually living on Tatooine with his uncle and aunt. He's not even a big deal in the rebellion yet, and he won't be for several years. And also in Episode 7, Rey and the character of Kylo Ren are not far off in terms of age, and we know that Kylo Ren was born from the union of Han Solo and Leia Skywalker, and this occurred years after the last sort of battles that we experienced in the movie. So if they're the same age, it would make sense that these two, if they were basically her parents, may have actually had some sort of a relationship years after this destruction of the second Death Star, which would also suggest that she would be a character in one of the movies, but she's not. We don't ever see her again. So there's that as well. But if you have any other evidence about their relationship, or possibly how she's a daughter of Luke Skywalker and the character from the upcoming Rogue One, please post it in the comments below. I would like to hear your suggestions. Anyway, moving on. Now, one other thing this trailer suggests is that there's going to be almost like a war, specifically this shot right here, almost like a warlike atmosphere to this movie. And here we're also talking about movies that have some sort of a heist, like something that is being stolen from somewhere else. And for this reason, I think in this character there's going to be at least 4, possibly 5 main characters, or not main characters, but basically characters working together. So she's going to be the main one. There's going to be the guy, the pilot guy. There's also going to be, and you'll see him in a second, that's them again. That's the evil guy. We'll talk about him later on. But right here, so there's a Forrest Whitaker character that people think is some sort of a, possibly some sort of a veteran from the Clone Wars, and is going to be basically on their side helping them as well with his knowledge of Empire or whatnot. So he's an interesting character. And then we'll also have this person you'll see in a second, probably the coolest character. So this is an actor by the name of Donnie Yen, and he's most famous for being Ip Man. He played Ip Man in the movie Ip Man, which was basically, that's the teacher of Bruce Lee. He actually portrayed that character really, really well. And he's also a very famous Chinese martial artist. But in this particular scene, he is what I think Terrascasi Master, specifically a blind Terrascasi Master. Let me just play this again for you. We're gonna play this scene again, and you'll get to see, basically he's a martial artist, but the only known martial art in Star Wars that's really famous is Terrascasi. This is actually what this guy, Darth Maul, was famous for. He was actually a Terrascasi Master as well. And so it's very likely that maybe there's a relationship between them, and possibly we get to actually finally discover the history or some sort of a lore behind Taraskasi, basically the coolest martial art in Star Wars. And I think the only people that may actually be familiar with Taraskasi really well are old players of Star Wars Galaxies. The original Star Wars Galaxies used to have a character or a class of characters that you used to be able to create, and it was actually a Taraskasi Master. And so this would be like a martial artist using something akin to this, to a stick that you would use to fight instead of using any lightsabers or anything else. So very exciting news that, you know, we'll get to finally see Taraskasi. Alright, well, let's talk a little bit about some of the possible spoilers as well, specifically things that are not really seen in this particular trailer or that are shown but are still unanswered. Like, for example, there's a scene that you're about to see with the dark character appearing in front of some sort of a tank, and right here. So we don't really know what's happening in this particular scene, because there's a hooded character and there's what's known as the Bacta tank, which we've seen before in one of the previous Star Wars movies where Luke Skywalker was basically healed from his injuries. So it's possible that someone is in this tank right here and is being repaired, and it's someone relevant to the Empire, because these right here are the Imperial Guards. Now, whether this is the Emperor or Darth Vader or whoever, we don't really know, but since we already know that Darth Vader has already been healed and is already in his suit by the end of episode 3, it's very likely that this is not Darth Vader, and neither is this, because well, it doesn't look like him from the back, different posture, different suit, and obviously no breathing apparatuses. And so we don't really know who this person is and what he or she may actually be in this particular movie, which is actually one of the mysteries and has created a lot of conspiracy theories as well. There's one more character that I'm missing from this story, and this is actually another support character that is going to be part of the team. Who this is and what he does, we don't know, but he seems to be possibly some sort of maybe bounty hunter or something along those lines, because he's definitely part of this team. You can kind of see them all running together. So there's going to be at least 5 members. There's going to be all of these guys you get to see on the poster, plus this character who we're not really sure who he is, and of course Forrest Whitaker, which is not in this particular in this poster, and of course the robot. So there's going to be a few of them, and they're going to be possibly working as a team to try to essentially get the plans. And so let's talk a little bit more about possible spoilers and also possible speculations about this movie. So one of them I wanted to mention is from the scene where we get to see the evil guy. So this is, we don't really know who he is, but it's obvious that he's some sort of a higher ranking officer of the Empire, and he seems to prefer to have his own weapons. He also is seen in this really awesome scene where he just kind of walks along the water in between dead bodies. Pretty awesome scene, so he's going to be a badass character. We don't really know who he is and what he's going to do, because there's not enough information given about him, but he's obviously going to be the main villain in the story. Also, another possible spoiler is this last shot where the main character is actually wearing what seems to be a TIE fighter pilot uniform. And so what this scene suggests is that maybe, just maybe, she might turn evil, or possibly this is how she actually snuck into the station by pretending to be a pilot. So we don't really know what's going on here, but she does seem to have really cool weapons on her back there. Sort of like a Ninja Turtle almost, but so yeah, there's that as well. So she's definitely going to be a really badass female lead, but at the same time, very mysterious. We still don't really know what's going to happen to her and what direction her character is going to go. And a few more spoilers here, and one of them is, well, in this particular shot, first of all, we get to see these new stormtroopers, which I believe are called the Death Squad. We don't really get to see them in other episodes, but they're finally going to appear here. But look at that. This is actually what's known as a condenser, and this is used on desert planets like Tatooine to try to extract water. So are we back on Tatooine here? Even though it doesn't really look like a desert, but it's very possible that there's going to be a Tatooine shot or some kind of a desert planet shot where these guys are going to be looking for someone again. Possibly Luke Skywalker, or maybe Ben Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, because he is also on Tatooine as well. And all in all, there's actually quite a lot of new stormtroopers. There's also these desert-looking guys. There's the Imperial stormtroopers that are wearing red, and of course, there they are. And of course, this new stormtrooper right here, which has been referred to as the tank troopers. So this is also a new uniform, and what seems to be a completely new tank that we haven't seen before. And it actually gets destroyed in this trailer a few seconds later. And most importantly, what we get to see is the preliminary version or the proto version of the AT-AT tank right there, or also known as AT-AT. So this is the initial version that was basically just sort of like a new invention during that time. So this is the first time that the rebels actually get to experience these really powerful tanks, and obviously possibly get slaughtered by them. And this particular scene suggests that there's going to be an attack on some sort of a rebel base, possibly on one of the Yavin moons, but since Yavin 4 doesn't really get attacked until later on, I don't think it's going to be Yavin 4, but it's clearly some sort of a tropical planet where these guys are attacked by the prototypes of AT-AT tanks. Alright, so now let me just finish this by saying one more thing. This is actually possibly another spoiler. There's actually a very important actor missing from this particular trailer. And it's this guy right here who actually does appear in the cast of the movie, Mads Mikkelsen. He's a pretty big deal. He's actually a pretty famous Danish actor. And not seeing him in this trailer is a big giveaway that he is very likely going to have some sort of really important role. He might be Darth Vader if he appears. He might be the Emperor, or he possibly is some sort of a key essential piece to this whole puzzle. Now, if you scroll down to his filmography, he's the only one for whom the role is to be announced. It's basically a secret. Why is it a secret? Because he's a very popular actor. He's very famous. It's because his role is essential to this movie. So, you know, think big terms. Whoever he is in this movie is probably going to be pretty awesome. And I'm going to guess that maybe, just maybe, he's either this guy or possibly the guy in a tank. And so essentially that's all I really wanted to say in this video. I wanted to basically analyze this really short trailer that has already arose a lot of speculation and a lot of analysis of different little aspects about this movie, because you know what, Star Wars saga is absolutely amazing, and waiting for episode 8, you know, December of 2017 is going to be very painful. So I'm glad that they decided to come up with another movie in between that. And technically, even though this is not really the Jedi or the Sith saga, it is quite exciting to find out what else happens with other characters in this series as well. Anyway, if you've enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to like it, and don't forget to share with people that you think like Star Wars or would enjoy watching this trailer and analyzing it as well. If you have any other really awesome tidbits to add, even if there's spoilers, you know what, we don't really know enough about this movie yet, post them in the comments below. I would love to read them. Maybe we'll make a part 2 of this video where we'll talk more about various tidbits, like, for example, who is this guy? I still don't know. We still don't know that. We know he's an evil guy, but we don't really know who he plays. Anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and as always, game you later, and bye-bye.
If you continue to fight,